Hey, how's it going? Please look at my signs before I get rolling here. So, this is a very warm. Actually, the day is not too terribly warm, but I do have myself sort of closed in here for the moment so I don't have outside distractions coming in. So, today, this thing's just blinding me to death. I wanted to talk about aging, about getting old. So, we've been talking a lot about the presidential candidate's age, and for months and years been talking about, some of the legislators in Congress and the Senate's being their age quite elevated. And we've seen some misfunctions or misfires and malfunctions, like, Dianne Feinstein was I don't know, she was not in good shape before she left, and they kept her around forever. And Mitch McConnell seems to have control of his mental faculties, but sometimes his body betrays him. And that is, I don't know if it's connected to some ailment he has, or if it's a function of getting old. I don't know, but also Joe Biden kind of got real still, and I don't know exactly what that was about. So but I'm talking about us. I'm talking about us getting old, or me. So I just started thinking about it because some things happened recently, and it just, I don't know, they all kind of converged, and I thought it was a little funny. So there's a neighbor kid here, and I know his grandparents because they lived here years ago, and they just moved back, and coincidentally or on purpose, I'm not really sure how many kids they had. I know they had a few, but only one of them ever talked to me. But I know that they have two sets of in-laws with their grandkids that live here. So 3 groups that are all part of one family. And this kid who lives next door is one of the grandchildren. And I don't know him, don't know the parents or the in-law parent or anything, but this family just moved in like right next door. So this was about a month ago now, but I was sitting out on my deck reading a book, and this little kid was just kind of wandering around, and he kept going past, and obviously he had, like, I could hear there were no kids, and I knew he was looking for something to do. And the third time he came around, he stopped on my deck and just started talking to me. And I eventually just put the book down because he was just going to have a conversation. But he could not compute. He could not understand, like, what I was. As far as I know, I'm the only black person that lives here. There's only like 70 units, so it's pretty damn small. And yeah, pretty sure I'm the only black person, so that may be part of his confusion. I don't know, but he could not understand. I think he thought I was a big kid for the first couple of days, and then I don't know, maybe someone said something to him, but he since changed his mind. And then last week, he and another kid, like, he finally found some kids, so he wasn't there talking to me. But when he was talking to me on the deck, I'm getting all mixed up here, but when he was talking to me on the deck, he could not understand. He couldn't figure me out. I think he thought I was a big kid because he was like, "Where are your parents?" And I was like, "My parents are dead. They passed away years ago." And he said, "Well, what about your grandparents?" And I said, "Well, them too." And he was like, "Well, do you have kids?" And I was like, "No." And then he just started asking me the same questions in a different way. Like, he just couldn't figure out, like, why are you? So then a couple of days ago, I saw him and another kid. Like, he did finally. The other kids came back from wherever they were, and they've been raising heck and screaming and having kid fun and all that. But I came home from a bike ride, and I was at my door to unlock the door, and he and this other little boy were all of a sudden right there. And so this kid that I had talked to before says, well, let me just say that between when he met me and this time I'm about to talk about, I don't know what was going on with him, but he's like, is that your cat? Your cat is beautiful. And he started to take a couple of steps, and he stopped and turned back, and he goes, and you know what? You're beautiful too. And I was like, well, thanks. You're a little stunner yourself. So, I just want you to understand, like, this little person that I've been interacting with. So I'm at my door. He and the other little boy are there. And so this day, little curious boy says, you look like a grandmother. And I was like, thanks. He's like, well, where are your grandkids? And I was like, I don't have any. We talked about this. And he's like, well, why don't you have grandkids? And I said, because I don't have any kids. And he said, well, what if your kids have grandkids? Like, he still can't quite get it. But I think someone spoke to him, or he saw me talking with the other adults and realized, oh, wait, she's an adult. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not really sure, because I don't want to open that can of worms, you know. I don't want to ask him, what was your thinking on that? And in all likelihood is gone, like long gone. Like, whatever thought was in his head at the moment, I doubt that he would remember. Not because I think he's dumb, but just because I think you're a little kid and you got so much going through your head. And just like us, I think they prioritize like what's important to remember. And I'm sure remembering our conversation is not a priority, because either he just can't get it through his head, or he can't remember that I don't have kids. So it was like Abbott and Costello for a few minutes. And then the other kid's like, she is not married. She doesn't have anybody to have kids with. And then he starts leaving. And the little boy's like, oh, like all of a sudden it made sense. And I was like, damn, that's all I had to say. So, you know, what can I say? I'm 60 years old. I imagine I do look like a grandmother. And then a few weeks ago, this is something else now. I was in those risky comments section again. And it was TMZ, and there was some conversation about the wisdom of Ariane, oh my god, Ariana Grande made a comment about like who would she like to have, a dead person would she be interested in having a conversation with, and she said Jeffrey Dahmer. Okay. Not my pick. I don't know who I'd pick. I think I would just let the dead people be dead people and leave them alone. But anyway, in the context that they're talking about anyway. And, you know, that was it. And so that was probably about a week ago, maybe two. And some person took that comment and just did some gymnastics with it, because then they're just all, they started, I guess, like a, what is the word? Like they made a viral comment, or I think it was like a TikTok question, and the girl in the TikTok was going, "Are you a cannibal?" Or I'm paraphrasing. I don't know what she said because it was dumb, but in my opinion, but she took the fact that she thought that he might be, Ariana Grande thought that he might be interesting to speak to try to understand, I guess, what the heck was going on with him, you know, because she would be one of the few people, well, not few people, she would be half of the people that would be safe to go talk to him in all likelihood. Like, his tastes ran to men, is what I'm saying. So, they were talking about that on this TMZ show. I guess it was like one of the little newer shows that they do with just a couple of people talking. What is the name of it? I can't remember. It's with the Australian kid, and it's supposed to be the other girl, the other Charlie with the Valley Girl accent, but she's gone a lot. And that is more information that you do not need. But anyway, that's what they were talking about, that Ariana Grande had said this, and then this other person on TikTok had just blown it up out of proportion. And then other people, you gotta wonder about this, other people just like jumped in line behind the person that was like, then you must be a cannibal because you would countenance speaking to one. Which is quite a leap, and not a great, it's not well thought out, in my opinion. But that's what they were talking about. And in the comments, what I said was, well, you know, she probably just really wasn't thinking about the effect that would have. Because the family, I guess, got upset. But it was caused, I think, not by which... Well, no, I guess they did hear that she said that, and I guess Dahmer's family was upset that, or no, the victims of Dahmer's their families were upset that they felt like she was elevating him. But you know what? What she said has nothing to do with them or any of that. That's crazy. You gotta, like, come on. People are allowed to talk about things. If you're sensitive, then I'm sorry, but we got to be able to let people speak. Then in that, you know, same way of thinking or frame of thought, what I said is that she was young. Like, you know, the inference, I would hope, I don't remember exactly what I wrote, but it was something along the lines of, well, I'm sure, like, she just probably wasn't thinking that it was going to affect anyone negatively, and I wouldn't have either. And I said, she's young, you know, and someone snapped back, like, immediately, what TF are you talking about? She's 31. Youth doesn't necessarily mean age, you know? Because there could be some pretty wise young people and some really dumb older people, like elderly people. And, and I said, you'll understand when you're older. And I did have, then I realized after I sent it, I was like, oh, well, maybe you'll understand. But I thought, you know, not that I was going to go back and edit it, because apparently I'm not allowed to do that anymore. But, I really do think that, like, well, for what the heck were you so mad for? Who the heck am I to you? Like, nobody. I don't understand. She doesn't know what I said. That family doesn't know what I said. Like, even now, the likelihood that they would hear me talking about this is so tiny. I just think we need to keep things in perspective that way. But I can sympathize with someone, like, getting that fired up that fast. Like, I'm not gonna, like, pick on them about it. It is, with everything that's happening right now, whether we want to, like, agree with it or not, it has an effect on us, and not in the ways that we think. Like, you might think that I'm talking about actually knowing about something that's gonna, like, emotionally affect you. I'm talking about you don't even have to know about it, that it happened. And yes, people are saying stuff, but they don't even have to be saying stuff to you. It's more just that it has happened, and there are effects that are just invisible, you know, and you have to sense them and feel them. And when you're not really aware that you're being affected that way, then you just feel crazy and angry and super aggressive and oversensitive. And sometimes it's good to just not even answer, but other times it's good to just answer calmly, because really it's not, seriously, it's just opinion. It's not the end of the world. Like, truly, nothing can affect you, like, unless you let it, you know? It's really up to us to decide about those kinds of things. So, I pulled some cards. I'll try to remember to show the decks. I don't feel like, I think I just want to do it differently than show them every time. And I forgot to pull out the thing that I need from the... Man, I just only want to call them the real feels. Ever since I said that, like my brain is just stuck on it. It's the Light Seers deck, number 27. I meant to dig out this piece of information before I got started, but I didn't. Okay. See, the whole idea here was not to be yammering on for an hour, and so doing this, I feel like it's taking up extra time, but I'll try to keep it moving along. Come on. I should have gotten this bound years ago now, it seems like, but it's just not high on the list of priorities, unfortunately. Okay, so the first card I pulled from the Light Seers deck is Heart Home. And as you can see, it's like heart-shaped in a way, but it has the features of a home. I think the idea is home is where the heart is, and where the happiness is, and the safety and the security, and, well, I mean, home is where you go if, you know, if this is your life, I guess I should say, to be comfortable and to be comforted, and to, it's the place where, you know, in a good world, people could love and care about you. And you want to, at least I want to make my home that kind of welcoming, comfortable place and vibe just for myself. And, well, you know, I do live alone, but if I lived with other people, that would not change. I think we generally would like a welcoming, comfortable place to go. And maybe it takes some years and experiences to pass before you are in a place where you know what you want and know how to do that for yourself. Like, I think a lot of feeling comfortable and content comes with getting older, because definitely you're not as nervous wreck as you are when you're young and just hyper and full of, you know, energy that's just going in all directions, and it's kind of hard to keep track of that, and then, you know, it affects you. So the guidebook says about Heart Home, number 27, love in its truest form, compassion, which is also the subtitle on the card, compassion. When you begin to feel like you do not belong anywhere, it's time to make your way back to your heart home, your refuge. That is your true home. You are being called back to the quiet place where your soul resides. Put everything on hold for a short while. You are being offered the experience of love in its purest form, unconditional and unbounded. This is not the love you must work hard to earn or barter for. Drop into your heart space and rest there for a breath or two. Replace the judgment of yourself and others with compassion. Really, it's easy. It is that easy when Heart Home shows up. There is no need to forgive anyone for anything. None of it occurred in spiritual truth. It is only your belief in that story that makes it be powerful. So that's, again, you controlling what you let affect you or not. Allow your love to wash clean all of these, all those impressions. Empty yourself of all judgment and preconceptions, and allow Spirit to fill you with the sweet nectar of peace. When Heart Home shows up, it is imperative that you heed the call. Heed its call, lest the universe orchestrate a way to bring you back to yourself that is of a harsher nature. I hope that was understandable, because I need to get that eyeglass prescription in so I can see better. That was a little bit difficult. So so what I talked about is your literal home, but it's like a it's a metaphor. Your home, I would think, is what you would like your life to resemble, so making your own home is a metaphor to what this card was talking about, but it's also a sort of construction that you create over the years with your life, and what you learn, and what you learn, like what resonates with you and what doesn't, and what is good for you and isn't, and what's going to harm you and not. And it just sometimes takes us a while to understand stuff, and everyone is different for different reasons. Like, it takes all kinds. It just does. There's just going to be people doing stuff that you don't understand, that doesn't necessarily make sense to you, like that poor child. Okay, so achieving that is what you want, and it's almost like when I'm still talking about aging, one of the things you get over the years is the perspective about things. Like I said, like, you're not as naive and unsure, and you're less likely to be hurt by things that you naively blunder into, whether it's some sort of relationship or job or something, whatever it is, that you find yourself in some sort of exchange that is emotional or whatever. Or when I say whatever, I shouldn't say that. What I should say is, like, it's like maybe an emotional thing in your relationship that you have to deal with, or like you're dealing with your landlord and it's prickly, or it's your job, or it's the place where you go all the time and eat, drink, dance, whatever, like your regular place. So we all do this. We all, like, create our own realities, and then as you age, you just get to perfect it. So, like, by the time you start getting that that's a thing that you can do with your energy, I get the number 25, and then to 27 we started out with. Now the card number is 25, and it's the Garden of Venus, rest and renewal. Well, I mean, we're still talking about age, and as far as rest and renewal goes, like, I've been talking like there's an end to it, and I suppose there is an end to your physical life, but we work, and then we feel like we worked and raised our families and contributed to society, and now we're old and we're tired, and we want to retire and we want to rest. And sometimes that's what you do, and sometimes that's not what you want to do. Like, you just want to keep going, but you're at a place when you're older where you can decide that you want to do that or not. Like, you have that agency, and also you've built experience, so you've made your life and your world as close to how you'd like it to be, and yourself and your personality, if all's gone well, same. Like, that's kind of the goal. Like, even if you don't have, like, a stated direction in your life, and you don't know that there's a path that you're on, you likely realize that every day you got to get up, and then you got to do stuff to support yourself as an adult human. You do it for long enough, and you learn yourself, and you learn what you need from life, and So the next card is the number 3 card, and when you reach that place, you're gonna understand how to give yourself these things and be your own benefactor, because you kind of have to. If you're lucky, you'll meet people that will help create that, build that life around you. Like, you'll meet your better half and things are perfect and you'll have your family and all of your dreams come true. But that might not happen for everyone, and it might not be the way things should happen for everyone. Like, other things could happen that would make people completely happy. But when you get to that place, you know that you can have, generosity of spirit or funds or whatever you feel like you can spare or give, that you want to give. You have that option too, always. And then grace, I just feel like that's an extreme state of peace and sort of understanding with yourself and your surroundings. Well, in this context anyway. So now we move to the number 16 card, and it's empty well, time to replenish. I feel like this is going backwards, like, reminiscent comes to mind, but I often think that's like kind of kind and fun. Well, I mean, everybody remembers what they remember. Empty well makes me think of the time, like, you've reached basically this stage, but you can remember, especially when interacting with people that are not at that same space, that are, for instance, younger than you. You can understand that you have had to have, like, the times where you're broke and you feel like you're unloved and the world is hard, and you have to work to be happy. And maybe that's like unpleasant, but you also know that these times can, you can get through it. And also, this also suggests that, like, all of what you had is gone. Like, you just need to fill up the well of knowledge, of health, of emotional fulfillment. You got to, like, learn how to do that, and not just the one time, like, over and over until you get older. And that's when when you've gone through it enough times, you sort of get it wired, and that's when you start getting to this stage. So the next card is number 56, the wall, and the subtitle is obstacles. So I was just talking about that. This is making me think of the person in the comment section that just wanted to fight about it. But it just makes me think, like, there was a wall of understanding the comment, and something was getting, like, something allowed them to get so angry, and then, like, completely blocked the other option of, like, whoa, what are they talking about? Because you can also do that. There are mostly, when I'm in the comment section, it's no one says anything, or if they say something, they give a like or some emoji that's laughing or positive or something. Like, I don't have arguments with people. I did not have an argument with that person. They said their thing, I said my thing, and it was done. But I did think about it, because I think about everything that happens, because it might be important. There might be something that happened that I missed that I should be paying attention to. So I feel like this is just like what I was talking about before, where you're going to go back to the well again and again until you get life wired the way you want it, basically. And if you look at this, where is my indicator? Oh, come on. It was just, oh, there it is, right in front of me. If you look at this closely, you can see that there's all these little, they actually, I hate to say it, but they look like tombstones. But there's all of these impediments, basically, little bitty walls. So you have these obstacles that you have to surmount over and over, but that's that's life. That's what happens. Those are the things that stop you and make you think and to slow you down for your own good. Even I swear I've been having this recurring problem, and I'm starting to feel like maybe there's something I'm supposed to be learning from this. But I have this three-wheeler adult well, it's not a tricycle, it's an adult tricycle. It's a three-wheeler though. The reason why I'm stumbling is because I have an actual adult tricycle where the front wheel is where the pedal is. This other three-wheeler, the pedals are in the normal place like on a two-wheel bicycle, but there's three and there's a basket on the back, so it's like a grown-up. You understand what I'm saying? So the grown-up one is quite heavy and long. You know, I've had bikes and since I was a little kid, so like riding a bike is like nothing to me, but this thing is a bike and more. And it hurts me physically. It's heavy. Well, actually, it's not hurting me. I'm already hurt when I ride it. Okay, I lost track of why I started talking about that. Oh, but because of the weight and because of my physical weakness, it is like when I get momentum going, it's good, because it still needs work done on it. The seat's too low, and then the pedal cranks are too long, so the position that my legs are in for the pedaling is kind of painful and like all squashed up. Like I need to be able to extend my legs more so it doesn't hurt. But something's wrong with the seat post clamp, and the seat won't stay. If I like clamp it up, as soon as I sit on it, it goes whap right back down. So that's got to be replaced. But is that those things that will shut me down for a couple of days, or else that one or the other one will have some mechanical problem, and that'll stop me from doing like exercise that I really want to go out and do. Like, I'm not a fanatic, obviously. Look at me. If I were a fanatic, I would be in better shape, I would hope. But I am fanatical about getting out there and getting some exercise, because it's just good for you, and I gotta get the heck out of this house sometimes. And then other times, but the thing about the three-wheeler that I even started talking about is I've been experiencing this problem like over and over. At first right outside my door, but in different places. And it's like I can't really get upset about this because I'm out in the public and other people are allowed to be on the places where I'm trying to go. But the ones that I have a problem with are, like, for instance, right outside my front door, there is an incline on the way to the door, and I try to get momentum as I'm coming, but there's so many other tenants that people are just popping out, or just people just wandering around. Like, I don't even know who they are. They're just there, and they're just walking or just standing. So I'll be like humping myself and this heavy thing, trying to get enough momentum to get up so I don't have to hurt my knees. And there has been someone there, or someone so many times, and it's like I can't say much. You know, they're allowed to be in the walkway, but they shouldn't be standing. It's not a standway, it's a walkway. So that's like stupid and frustrating. But then it started happening outside of here. Like, I'll get momentum up, and then the car will come out of nowhere, and I'm like looking, because I was a bike messenger, and you just learned, like, well, you could just get smashed and killed by a car, so you're looking. And they'll just come too fast out of nowhere because they think they're the only ones on the road, because I'm on the side streets to avoid this kind of thing. And like 3 times today in spots where I knew there was an incline coming and I needed to like barrel down on the little bit of downhill I had going, I kept getting stopped. And that's what that's what it feels like, is that kind of thing. It's kind of like you're so intent to move forward that you're having obstacles and impediments because you're supposed to slow down and pay attention to what's happening right then in the moment, and also appreciate it. Like, actually slow and stop yourself, I think, is what it's trying to tell me. And stop hurting yourself, and just, learn when it's good for you to stop, and consider if that's necessary, or stop hurting yourself if necessary, or stop hurting your device because it needs work. So, it's always something. And so the final card I pulled was number 31 in the hand. The universe is your partner. Well, I mean, definitely the universe is your partner. As annoying as it might be to be continually stopped when you're just trying to go, Spirit knows what's good for you. You have like guardian angels that are there to prevent you from doing something that's gonna be harmful in some way to you, and that's good. You want that, but whether you know or not, of the plans and the life blueprints, you could be completely oblivious. You just know that the sun comes up every day, and you got to get up too, and you got to go to school, or you got to go to work. Like, you just know when the day comes, you're expected to do things and be places, and while you're doing these things and being in these places, you are supported by spirit or, messengers of spirit, like angels and ancestors, relatives. Just, you never know who's going to reach out from the other side and have something to say, or, offer some form of assistance, which we may or may not be aware of, depending on the level of sensitivity that you may have to that sort of thing. So I pulled a card also from the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck, and it was the Hawk card. Well, birds can get up high and offer you a wider perspective, or like their vision is a wider perspective than the bird or you would have just from on the ground. And we're not always birds, and we can't always fly, without assistance. So sometimes it has to be like a thought. You have to use your imagination, and I mean, if need be, and you gotta like pretend you're a drone and raise yourself up above wherever the spot is that you are sitting in or standing in, then use that device. But I believe what this card is telling us in this reading is not only, will the older person have the perspective, they'll know to have the perspective because, they're older, and each of those days that's passed was filled with activities that inform them on some level about something having to do with their life. And that usually also affects the lives of other people. And that's a good thing. Like, even if it's something that repels us and we think is terrible, those things happen also for a reason. Even if it's to make us feel something, if we're just going to be that basic about it, that's not a big deal. And the final cards I pulled, how am I doing on time? Not bad. Are from the Messages of Cosmic deck, and I can just read those. Life can be hard and life can be wonderful. Which will you focus on? It's kind of that simple. Or actually, let me take it right back, because it's not always that simple. Sometimes we complicate our own lives, and we don't know that that's what we're doing. And until we do, because this is like one of those aging sort of milestones, when you realize that the things that happen to you over and over, that every time they happen, guess who's there every time? You. You are one of the components that we often think it's everything and everybody else, but it's really us controlling the whole narrative, co-creating the whole reality. Nevertheless, like, we can't like subtract ourselves from the equation. So what are you going to focus on? Are you going to keep going that way where you're sort of having like the unhappy life and things are not going your way, and then you're kind of like, why does this always happen to me? why is this happening to me? When things happen, they're not only happening to you, and or you can change your mind and start realizing your own culpability in your life, and that can be in the negative sense that I talked about, but you can also at the same time almost be doing good things, and good things for yourself and the people around you. That's your choice. The next one says, no one said this whole thing was a race. It's okay to slow down. Now, see, that's interesting, because I was just this is like saying you can slow down, indicating that you can slow yourself down. Like, you don't have to go through the whole obstacles and the bottom of the well. If you've been there, you can get to a point where you're like, okay, I can get to the same place where I don't have to go through those particular steps. And that sounds like doing it faster, but I'm talking about slowing yourself down, without those steps. And deciding to, my goodness, that feels like that would be like the most healthy, like you're getting to the place where like, oh, I am steering this ship. I am responsible if it like runs aground because I did something doofy, like not paying attention, or if you're the captain of your own ship, then no blame can really go to anybody else. The crew is your responsibility. Presumably you chose them. We all are connected to other people in small and major ways, but we do have to take responsibility for ourselves. And I know that for a captain, there is a level of being responsible for everybody else, and that kind of tips the situation on its end, but it also, in a way, doesn't change much, because metaphorically, those people and that ship and that whole framework could just be how you process that, in your mind. Even though I'm talking about a real person having a real experience in reality, there's nothing to say it can't exist in both ways, and be instructive too, especially the non-physical one, because you have so much more ability to control events in that scenario. And the last card says, give your inner critique a vacation day. Be kind to yourself. So yeah, when you're making all of those stops, it's not, don't make it all about work. Is that what you really want to do? Is that like, if that's what you love and that's what you enjoy, and that is like self-love, then I guess knock yourself out. But I like those ones where, an actual vacation to somewhere else would be amazing, but can't just pluck those out of the air, unfortunately. I can't. I have to work toward them. But you can imagine a lot. You can curate your environment. You can music and light and just atmosphere can create a whole new world where you are. And even if you have to do that in your head for 5 minutes, you should definitely do it. We can all use it right now, because like I said, those energies, whether you're aware of them or not, are kind of kicking our butts. And there's a lot of people going, ending, and that's part of it too. Even though they're part of like this whole thing that's going on, it gives them a way out that was on their path, you could say. I know that's so confusing, but sorry, deal with it. That's the best I could do. So I didn't really give a good look at that, but it's pretty. I like the art. All right, I said my say. All right, I'm under an hour. Hooray! Thank you and good night. Stay cool.